Good afternoon. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Oklahoma City Water Utilities Trust. Welcome, everybody. I'm trying to get myself back in gear, figuring out how to go from here. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and first order of business is to approve the minutes of the August 14th meeting of the Trust, and I'd recognize a motion to that effect.
Move approval.
Moved and seconded. Vote. Approved. Next, we have the consent docket. We have a number of items. Would ask for a motion to approve the consent docket subject to individual consideration.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments with regard to the consent docket? Seeing none, we'll vote. Approved. Next item of business is the concurrence docket. I'd recognize a motion to approve the concurrence docket.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments regarding those two items? Seeing none, we'll vote. It's approved. We have two items for individual consideration. First is a presentation on the sanitary sewer asset management and condition assessment services. You're on.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have Rachel Pierce here. She is our asset management program manager, and she's going to give you an overview of the selection of the condition assessment contractor that we're going to recommend for consideration.
Good afternoon, Chairman and Trustees. So I'm going to go brief overview over the asset management program. This is for the sewer and water linear assets. The program that we're doing for asset management for sewer is we're doing the condition assessment of collection systems, which is the topic for today. But in the future, we'll also be doing a survey and inventory, flow metering and isolation, and inflow and abatement. We'll also be covering a water program in the future that we're going to be kicking off. Portions of that include large valve program, a condition assessment of the distribution system, and a survey and inventory of the water valves as well. So I previously gave a presentation February 13th over the sewer assessment condition, and just a brief recap of that meeting was we're going to be doing the condition assessment program. It's a 7 to 8 year contract. We'll be assessing about 3,000 miles of our gravity mains and 69,000 manholes. This would include the inspection of assessment, and the way that we're going to cover the 3,000 miles is first we'll do acoustics in the sewer mains that are 12 inches and smaller, and then based off of the results of that, if they come back where it's needs additional attention, we'll be conducting CCTV. We'll also be doing sonar and CCTV for our larger lines, as well as multi-sensor that incorporates laser, sonar, and CCTV. And every year on this program, we'll be getting an annual report where it'll be giving us the capital improvement plans, as well as the operation and maintenance work plans, and that will be for the routes, the grease abatement, and flushing frequencies. And so our selection process that we went through for this was first we sent out requests for qualifications on February 13th, and then we closed that RFQs on March 28th. And then from that, we received 9 vendors who submitted qualifications, and the selection committee got together, and we have 5 qualified vendors who were able to move forward with the RFP process. And in the RFP, we opened that on May 8th, and then we closed that on June 13th. And from that, the selection committee evaluated each of the proposals, and we ranked the vendors. And the top-ranked vendor was Wolpert, and then on today's docket is the resolution for us to start negotiations with Wolpert.
What's the expected scope of the project in terms of dollars?
It's going to be about $50 million.
Okay.
That's for the full 8 years.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, just to throw this out there, after my freshman year in college, I got to work for the sewer department, and I was on the dig-up crew, and so in residential areas, when you had to replace the main line in between houses, back then, the city only had one backhoe to share among the entire department. So we would have to dig by hand, 10 to 12 feet, sometimes further down to replace those sewer lines. So to prevent that from happening, this program I think is a good approach. But it did bring back some of those pictures, memories of what I used to be involved with.
Well, if you need a second manager, you can always come help you.
Yeah, well,
If we ever wondered what possessed somebody to become a CPA, now we know.
it did not take too many of those summers to convince me a desk job would be more enjoyable.
Mr. Chairman, this program is intended to move us from a reactive organization where we fix it after it breaks to one where we're more planned and scheduled, where we know the probability of failure, the consequence of failure, and then we plan accordingly. So this is a really big step to enable that to happen.
So we do this survey, and we kind of get a baseline of where we are. Is this the kind of thing we do every 10 years, or is it a continuous ongoing after that, where you're always finding a segment?
It's perpetual. What we found in the industry is defects degrade one level every 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
And so we want to see how the defects are progressing.
Okay.
And that will help us evaluate the probability of failure. In addition to that, there's a lot of underground work going on with directional boring contractors.
Right.
And sometimes they put things through our pipes, and so it'll help us find those as well.
Right.
And so it's an ongoing program.
Other questions or comments? If not, I'd recognize a motion to ratify and approve it in as 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Moved and seconded. We'll vote. Approved. Second item for individual consideration, a presentation on the second Atoka pipeline, steel pipe supply and services.
Mr. Chairman, we have Larry Hare here, who is the program manager for our water engineering group. He is going to give you an update on where we are on the procurement for the Atoka pipeline pipe.
Thank you very much, Chris. We can get the presentation going.
Any questions?
Any questions? Yes. There you go. Okay, I'm going to give you a brief high-altitude look at the RFP, request for qualification, request for proposals that we're going to do for procuring pipe for the second Atoka pipeline. Stepping back, we're going to take a brief look at our system as it stands today. We have a 100-mile-long pipeline made of concrete that's 60-inch in diameter, 6 pump stations that brings water from Atoka to Draper. We also have about a 17-mile line from McGee Creek that brings water to Atoka. This is made of 72-inch and 66-inch steel. So we have had several studies in the past that tell us that we need a second pipeline to bring in all of the water that we currently have water rights for from McGee Creek and Atoka. So that will be another 100-mile-long, 72-inch steel pipeline, roughly from Atoka all the way to Draper. And in this phase of the pipeline, we will be building 3 brand-new pump stations. So we decided to pre-purchase or procure the pipe outside of installation contracts. And in early 2017, we visited all of the pipe manufacturers that we knew of that could produce steel pipe in this size. And of these 5 that you see here, Jindal Tubular, the last one listed, has indicated that they are no longer in the water pipe business. So we don't believe that they will be a viable company to participate in our RFP process. The request for qualifications on today's docket begins the procurement process. Once that's done, we will have all of the submissions from the pipe manufacturers be due on September 6th, and those people that are shaken out will be qualified to provide proposals for their request for proposals later on after that. The request for qualifications is a simple 4-question yes or no answer questionnaire. If you answer yes to all questions, you're in. If you answer no to any one of these questions, you're not in. And that's that easy. After the request for qualifications process has been done, we will do a request for proposals for those manufacturers that are qualified now to put in for a proposal. The request for proposals will have more in-depth questions regarding how they do their particular processes and why their processes are better than what they might do for other companies. Three processes we might look at is how they manufacture pipe, how they schedule their deliveries, as well as delivering the pipe to the site. All the proposals, once they are put in, will be in a ranked order through a selection committee, and the top-ranked company will be in. And we're looking to, our goal is to have a purchase agreement for procuring pipe by December of this year.
And the goal is to start taking delivery when?
The delivery of the pipe will start when we do each individual construction segment.
Right.
So we're not going to have them start rolling out pipe and then have it sit there for a long time before we're ready for it.
That's what I knew it was a while
Right.
that we were starting. I just didn't appreciate, I guess, the lead time it takes.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
With all this talk we hear in the press about tariffs and steel, is that something that's being considered or taken into account?
Well, the price of steel is going to be the price of steel when it comes up for proposal. Now, we're going to have a steel index applied to that as far as each individual construction segment goes. So,
Wait and see.
yes, we wait and see.
Thank you. Any other questions? If not, do we need to vote on this? That's what I thought. Okay, we need to make a request for the qualifications to be advertised, the Second October steel pipe supply and services. Not recognize a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll vote. Approved. Are there any items from trustees? General Manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. 2 months into the fiscal year, everything's going as planned. We're making the money we thought we'd make, and we're spending the money we thought we'd spend. Lakes are all in good shape. We are keeping Atoka low. It's about 4 feet down because of the spillway project. Other than that, Hefner and Overholser are foot and a half below full pool. Draper's about 2.5 feet below full pool, so we're doing pretty well on our water supply. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Are there any questions? Citizens to be heard? Seeing none, we're adjourned.